Hey, what is up, everyone? It's that time again where we're going to talk about Season 5 and my thoughts on it for the whole of the season. So, to start off, I did put a poll out a few days ago from the recording this video, and I asked y'all what you thought about this season compared to other seasons, and just your general thoughts. And currently, from when I'm recording this, it's at 211 votes, and I was very shocked to see the results of it. A majority of you said that it was just okay at 59%. 11% of you said it was the best season we've had so far. 22% said that it was great, but not your favorite. So that would be basically like you thought it was really good, but maybe say season 3 or 4 was your favorite. I was actually surprised by the comments. There was a wide range of basically each season was someone's favorite, which is actually kind of surprising to me because I would figure that some of them would have been more popular than others. And 7% of you said it was terrible or boring, which, I mean, I can kind of understand that, but I was more shocked with 59% saying it was just okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the whole season. Just to start off, I think this is my favorite season that we've had so far, Sea of Thieves. I think that's going to change soon in the future, but let me go ahead and talk about first what we got in this season, and then just my general thoughts and everything. So season 5 brought with it a lot of minor changes, nothing like big. So we didn't get like new tall tales, we didn't get like the siren shrines or treasuries, no new world events, nothing like that. So I can see why people thought it was boring and just okay. But what it did bring was such like fundamental like gameplay mechanics that I would not want to go away with and have become really essential to me when playing. The first one that comes to mind is storage crate transfer. I think that has become like a really essential part of when I play the game now. And I find that I am doing better in the game now because I actually spend the time to get resources. Whereas before I would just get a little bit because I didn't want to spend all the time trying to grab stuff. So that is really a great thing that they've added. Other things they added bearing and fireworks. I think the fireworks, it was kind of, I expected it not to be that big of a deal, to be honest. Even when it first came out, I figured it was something that people were going to do for the first month and then maybe not do it too much again. I think they're still cool, but a little bit overrated when the season first launched. I think flares are a bit more useful though when it comes to like in an alliance and stuff. I think those are pretty cool, but it's not that major of an addition to the game. Bearing, on the other hand, I think that's a really great addition that is a bit underrated from what it seems like. You can bury basically anything, whether it's stuff that you got, whether it's stolen, doesn't really matter the treasure. You can bury Reaper chest. It's a very wide variety of things that you can do with it. And you can create your maps with it. You can post those maps to the quest board. I've talked in the past all about my problems with it, but I don't really feel like the quest boards were ever going to be that successful because not only do you get no gold, which I don't really care about too much, but you get only a little bit of reputation and you're supposed to get renown for the motivation. And if you're someone that levels up pretty quickly already and you already have, say, max renown for the season, then there's no point for you to put your quest up on the board other than just for, fun, I guess. And if you're already a max level for a trading company, then that's also another reason why you wouldn't want to put your stuff on the quest board. So I think they need to find out like a different reward for it, whether it's just like some kind of cosmetics that you get from posting stuff to the board that like maybe to progressive things, like the first 5 you get a reward, then like 25, then 50, then 100. I'm sure that could be kind of abused, but I'm not too concerned on that, to be honest. For me in particular, I really like to use bearing as a mechanic when like you steal a piece of treasure and say you don't have your ship nearby, you can bury your treasure and then come back for it later. Before, you could just like hide the treasure and that'd be fine. That would work usually, but there'd be some times when the server would merge and you would just lose all of that. And those times were very frustrating. So I really like that we have the ability to like basically just tuck stuff away on an island, come back for it later. There were other things that were added this season. So we had sitting and sleeping. Honestly, Just like the fireworks, I felt like they were kind of like fun for a bit of time, not that useful. I like sitting. That's what we did when we did some of the episodes of Tavern Talk, and that's kind of where it inspired the idea of doing that podcast, because you had the ability to sit down in the tavern, hang out for a bit. I think the problem with sitting though is you can't do anything while you're doing that. So like if you could say go in the tavern and sit down and you could take your tankard out and drink some grog, even that would be way better than what we have now, because basically you just sit there and you just look at yourself. It's not that fun. It's mostly for if you want to take a cool picture or something else. Sleeping's cool. I mean, that's a nice way to heal up instead of using bananas, but I wouldn't say it's a major feature. Just like most of the stuff that was added this season, it's a lot of little stuff that improves the game, but nothing major. While I personally like that, not saying that I would want that every season, others don't, and I think that's apparent inside the poll that we ran, where you see that 59% of you just said it was okay, and I completely understand why. So if it was just those updates that came to the season, I wouldn't say this was my favorite season. What makes it my favorite season is everything else that we got with it too. So I feel like in previous seasons, the game really slowed down in terms of like content and news and just general excitement about the game towards the second and third month of the season. So the first month would be super packed with stuff. There'd be lots of things going on. There'd be lots of news. The developers would be out there talking to us about many things. And then it would just slow down towards the second and third month. That was always something that I never really liked, and it was very difficult in the past for me to like much excitement about the game, especially in that third month leading up to a new season. Season 5, however, I think they did this a lot better, because not only did we start off Season 5 with the Christmas event, which those are probably some of the best events that they do, the Festival of Giving, where you get your Gilded Voyages and other stuff. We also had Grogmany after that, but the biggest thing that comes to mind is we had the Orb Event, which this was like a really obscure event. It reminded me a lot of how like the Black Hole event was marketed when Fortnite did that a few years ago. It was similar to that, how like they were very secretive with the whole thing. They didn't really tell you too much. They were just like, hey, Twitch link, go check this out. And they would give out Twitch drops throughout the day. It was like random, and they were rating different creators on Twitch. That was all really cool. And the biggest part of it was we got a little bit of lore teasers with Flameheart Jr. And that was really exciting. I was a bit surprised that they teased it so early, but now looking back, because we got the preview event a few weeks ago, it kind of makes sense why they were teasing it early. So I thought the Orb event was really great. Alright, so now we gotta talk about the whole Community Day event. And so this event had a lot of hype to it going into it, and the biggest part of it was that there was a 3.5 multiplier base value. I think it was 3.5, might have been 3.0. Y'all can let me know in the comments. It's been a while, so I forgot. But then you had that on top of like emissary grades and other stuff, and that's a significant amount of money that you can make in the game. So it made people really excited. It was a 24-hour long event, and people were really excited for it, and it was a lot of fun once I was able to get into it. And that's the key word right there. Once I was able to get into it. The servers had so many problems that whole day that basically for the first, 12 to 20 hours of the event going on, most people couldn't get in. I know for myself personally, I woke up early that morning, tried to get onto the servers, couldn't get in, kept trying throughout the day, couldn't get in still. We weren't able to get in until late that night, and that's when we started playing. Once we got in, we had a lot of fun. A lot of people were doing emissaries and stuff. By that point, we decided that instead of doing our original plan, which was going to do like the Athena Gilded Voyages that we saved, we just decided to go in and try to steal stuff. And that worked out pretty well for us. We had a lot of emissary flags that we stole. We stole one from every company that was on the seas, and that was pretty cool. But I can't say that the event was a success just because of how many problems people had with it. They tried to fix it a little bit, but they only extended it by 12 hours, which, keep in mind, the people that were probably most affected were the people that couldn't benefit from this extra time. So for like myself, I think the event started like way early in the morning because it's based off the British time, because that's where Rare and Sea of Thieves is based at. So anyone that was like in the UK and stuff, they were probably fine getting on when they woke up in the morning because it was set to their time. By the time that my area of the world in the US was waking up, the servers were already having problems. So then when they extended the time, most of that time that was extended was when everyone's going to be asleep. Not to mention the fact that it was going to be on a Monday that the event would be ending now. So that meant that like most people had either school or work. So even if you wanted to take part in it and you were going to stay awake or whatever, you couldn't because you had to go to work in the morning, you had school, you had whatever. I talked all about my thoughts on Community Day in that video, so I'll link that here if you want to see the rest of my thoughts on it, but I figured that was a good thing to cover in this video because Community Day was probably the biggest disappointment for Season 5, at least in my opinion. And then we went through a little bit of a break in between that and our next big piece of news, which was the preview event for 2022, and that's where Sea of Thieves brought everything. They showed off most of Season 6, they showed off a little bit of teasers for the rest of the seasons, and then we finally got the big piece of news in my mind, and that's that adventures and mysteries were being added to Sea of Thieves. And Season 5 brought with it the first adventure, and I think while I talked about my thoughts on this first adventure, I wasn't too impressed with it. I do think it's gonna be really huge for the game going forward. I think for Sea of Thieves in 2022, this is what I'm most excited for, to see how these adventures unfold and what locations in the world they change. I talked about this when they first started doing season system, even back before Season 1 came out, that this is what I was hoping events would be. And it did take a year for us to get there, but we're finally getting to that point. And I'm hoping we see really cool changes in the future, similar to how we saw Golden Sands destroyed. So we talked about what content was added. We talked about the different events they had and little pieces of news and teasers and other stuff that we got. Let's talk about a little bit of the sadder news. So this is the last season that the arena is going to be able to be played. So we found out during the preview event that arena was closing at the start of Season 6. So that made Season 5 really the last time you could play the arena. And the ironic thing is, because it was closing, more people were playing it now than ever before. And while that's great, it made it faster to get into games, I'm definitely very sad to see it go. But with that said, it does kind of make this season better, in my opinion, because we've played arena so much more than even past seasons, and obviously the following season we're not going to be able to play it anymore. So I think that gives Season 5 almost a little boost in a sad sort of way. Other than arena though, we had the Plunder Pass and Free Pass that we got this season, and I think this Plunder Pass, while it's not my favorite, I'll be honest, I don't really like using the ship cosmetics that we got. I haven't really used the costume too much. I like the costume, I think the costume's pretty cool, but I haven't used it too much. The real thing that I thought was really good about this Plunder Pass though was the 1,000 ancient coins that you got from doing it, to 750 from the Plunder Pass plus the 250 from the Free Pass. Made it 1,000, meaning you could get the next season's pass for free, basically. And that I thought was a really good value, and I thought it brought it more in line with other games like Fortnite and Rocket League and stuff that have their own passes, where that if you did the whole thing, you would be able to get the next pass for free. And I'm really hoping that Sea of Thieves continues that in the future. I am not too confident that they are, just based off of how their language was when the season came out, that it wasn't like this is a permanent change, this was just something that they did for Christmas. So we'll see in Season 6 how that turns out. I thought the Free Pass was also pretty good. There wasn't too much that stood out to me though this season. I didn't really find the Tier 100 to be that interesting, but what I did really like was Merrick's Tinkered as a Pirate Legend reward. That's probably my second favorite Pirate Legend reward. I would say the Pirate Legend Curse probably has to be number one if we're talking about like the Pirate Legend rewards that we've gotten, but this Tinkered is really cool to me. Another thing in the free pass we got is the dice emotes, which honestly I haven't really used them as much as I thought I would. I find them really cool, but they're kind of hard for me to see whenever I use them. So even if you zoom in all the way, it's still hard for me to tell what number it is. And then also, we just don't really have like much ideas of what to do with it. I always like see the emote and I'm just like, what could we do with that? The one thing I could think of is like you just randomly guess numbers or something like, oh, if we get a number that's higher than 3, we'll go fight them or something like that. And then you roll it and then you do what based on the die. Those are the only things I could really think of. I know you could probably play other games with it, but I would love to see them update the game in the future to have more like mini games that are less reliant on you to figure out the whole thing and come up with your own rules. I'm really looking forward to Season 6 and how that's going to turn out. I think Sea Forts, while I am hopeful for it, I'm not sure if they're just going to be like another, basically like the Siren Shrines. I think Sea Forts, the one thing that's going for it is that they basically seem like you can hang out and have fun in it. And something that I had always wanted in Sea of Thieves was like private islands that you could customize a bit and hang out with, maybe start off and spawn there. Things like that would have been cool. While we're not getting that, I think the forts, if you've seen some of the videos that they posted during the preview event of what they look like, it looks like we can hang out in there and have a lot of fun. So if you defeat the whole waves, you could maybe just like chill there, and they have cannons on the forts so that you could defend it if someone else was coming to attack. But I think it would be really cool to just make it almost like your home base, and you could go like hide all your treasure there or something. I don't know if they could make it so that the treasure wouldn't despawn if you left and came back. I don't know how they would do that, but I would be really interested in something like where you claimed a fort and other people could come and try to steal it from you, but it could be like your home almost. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hopeful that I'm right on that. It's not just going to be like another Siren Treasury where you just go there and fight the thing and get a little bit of treasure and leave. I'm hoping it's a little bit more than that. And then we have the Pirate Legend voyages that are coming out. Those are pretty exciting to me. I have been really wanting a Pirate Legend update for a long time because I have basically finished all the trading companies except for Athena's Fortune, primarily because the Athena's Fortune voyages are so boring currently, and I'm very excited to have something that's unique to Pirate Legends. So both of those changes are really exciting to me. I hope we get other stuff. We're going to be getting the adventures, so I don't think we'll have any like the regular events that we used to have, like where we had like Reapers vs. the World or Volt Raiders and stuff in the past. I don't think we're going to have those anymore, but if we do, in addition to adventures, that would be pretty cool. I'm excited to see what this first mystery is about. I think I posted on Twitter, but I'm actually a little worried that the first mystery, they teased it out saying that it's going to be about a beloved character dying and you had to figure out like who killed them and that kind of stuff. I'm worried that the thing they killed is that little crab that's in all the trailers, and that'll make me so sad, y'all. Like, oof. They're gonna tug at my heartstrings right there. But I'm really excited for the future of Sea of Thieves, and I think Season 5 was kind of the shift leading into that. I think Season 5 was like the starting off point. If you want to say like Season 1 through Season 4 were kind of like laying the foundation of how a season system would work, Season 5 is really where it took off and went in the right direction in my mind. I don't know how long I've been talking. We'll see when I start editing this, but I want to thank all of y'all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, it'd be great if you hit the like and subscribe. Definitely check out some of the other videos on the channel if you enjoyed this one. We got lots of other commentaries. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.